hello, and welcome, folks, to another exciting edition of the Panthers podcast. A couple more of those for the people because...
You're in the jungle now, baby.
Let's get it. I am your host, FBI Tugboat.
You ever made out with a tugboat?
Very, very excited to bring you guys another one. Folks, UFL is starting in 4 days. It is March 24th. We are looking at our first preseason episode, right? I did a couple off-seasons previously. No, our second preseason episode, excuse me. And we'll be doing 2 today here as well. Sorry, I have been plagued with allergies, so I'm going to try to mute when I have to cough, and I'll try and cut that out as well. My bad, guys. We recorded our last episode probably about 2 or 3 days before some big old news, and that is, of course, Reggie Barlow, head coach Dunzo, out, gone. On over to Tennessee State, talking about in a second, as well as today. The news came out, Ken Whisenhunt out, offensive line coach Jim Turner, there for the Memphis Showboats, going to be in. Crazy stuff, round and round we go. Where we stop, I do not know. Let's talk about these two things. Also, the betting episode will be separate. I'm trying to do shorter episodes in general. Don't want to combine these two, so we're pretty much just going to talk about Memphis. We'll go over the roster one more time, and then I'll direct you guys on over to the gambling episode that I'm going to do. All right. Let's take a look at this. First and foremost, DC. So Reggie Barlow out. Reggie Barlow out. Gone on over to Tennessee State. Shannon Harris going to be in. Which I'll say what everyone else is saying, right? Greg Williams, double G, G-R-E-G-G. First time I've ever heard or seen it spelled like that as well. Not in here. Defensive coordinator Greg Williams. Experience. Well-liked, like a very, very well-known face within the league. Definitely got some respect around the locker rooms and whatnot. But here is really my thing and why I feel like this is most surprising, right? DC's problem last year, and I'm going to go through here and use stats to support like what I'm saying, right? Well, let's back up a little. Reggie Barlow, 9-1 in 2023. Last year, the XFL. Then go into the UFL. Drop from 9-1 to 4-6. Of course, making Reggie Barlow finish out with a 13-7 overall record as head coach from these 2 years, right? But if you go across here, DC loses. DC doesn't lose because their offense isn't bad, and after like week 1, really, this one right here, they don't fail to score a lot of points. Usually, Jordan Ta'amu is a fantastic quarterback, and this is also a squad that's going to be returning Abram Smith, right? Now, again, as I said on previous episodes, no shade whatsoever to Abram Smith here, but last year, especially towards the end of the regular season, everybody made it sound like DC only did not make the playoffs and go forth to even compete in the UFL championship because Abram Smith got injured pre-week 1. And I just don't feel like that's a super fair thing to be able to say, right? Like, Abram Smith is a fantastic player. Do we think that he is going to put the entire team, offense and defense, all of the problems that were wrong with DC last year, onto his back and make them better on defense? Obviously, you can't make any argument there. And on offense, at a certain point, smart coaches, your Wade Phillips, man, oh man, your Birmingham Stallions. Oh my God, I just forgot him. Like I don't know how I forgot the Birmingham Stallions head coach's name. And of course Mike Nolan over there for the Michigan Panthers. These are coaches that are going to realize if that's the case, if that's what your game plan is, just give the ball to Abram Smith, let him go forth, and no matter what, like always, just give them the ball in some way, then they're going to figure it out, right? DC's problem, back to my point, DC's problem was not in the offense, and that's not going to be their problem as much this year with Abram Smith in. Their problem is going to be their defensive. So I'm wondering why Greg Williams didn't ascend to that area. No shade to Shannon Harris whatsoever. I'll talk more about Reggie Barlow in a second. And I'm wondering if that's like more like thinking, hey, the head coach position might just require like a little bit less work than is anticipated, and whereas the defensive coordinator Greg Williams needs to have all of his attention focused directly onto the defensive side of the ball, which honestly doesn't make It doesn't make zero sense. It doesn't make, you know what I'm saying? It kind of makes sense like a little bit. I guess I'm just kind of surprised still, really, because Greg Williams has been such a forward-facing member of this DC Defender squad, and I believe coming from the Pittsburgh Maulers as well. Now, talking a little bit about Shannon Harris. So Shannon Harris obviously worked with Reggie Barlow at Tennessee State, worked at Tennessee State, excuse me, and so they'll be coming in. Reggie Barlow, I'm not going to say anything negative about a guy wishing to make an impact. Obviously, probably make a bag or whatever else like that. But I like all the arguments I'm seeing online. This is my problem with it. All the arguments I'm seeing online is way more close to like just the pocket watching, like the accusations that Reggie Barlow is just bag chasing or something like this. Just doesn't make any sense to me after it's been 2 years here, and Reggie Barlow obviously is black, and Tennessee State is a HBCU. There's a little bit more extra there than just wanting to go off and be a head coach. Like, and I don't see how other people don't see that. Right now, here's my mild problem with it: 6 days. Obviously, Tennessee State is not it's not some SEC powerhouse or anything like that in the South. It's staring down the barrel of FBS competitions, right? They're in the FCS, right? They are D1 FCS, but they're not in the FBS, much less a Power 4 conference or anything else like this. So first off, the argument of like bag chasing doesn't really make a whole lot of sense there. It's not like he's going to be getting tens or hundreds of millions of dollars or anything else like that. Obviously, it's the second factor there, and I feel like the whole HBCU factor is at least a little bit of that. I'm not Reggie Barlow's confidant. I'm not his best friend. I don't know what's going on between his ears, right? But that's what it feels like to me, which means, like, again, outside of the timing, I got to say 6 days, going through all the way through training camp with them, and just to dip off for, again, guys, if you took another HBCU that has had like a lot of success in the FBS or something like that, and has gone forth and always just turned themselves out, especially if that's where Reggie Barlow went, then like kind of a different story. But maybe I've just talked this one to death. I just feel like if it was going to happen, it should happen a little bit sooner, right? Maybe during training camp or something, because this is just a crappy situation for Shannon Harris to come in and inherit. Let's talk a little bit more about this and why I just really feel like having a defensive mind at the helm to go back and always like be able to rely on your defense. Like, dude, giving up 18 points to I'm sorry, Ace. I'm sorry, Roughneck fans. Giving up 18 points to the Roughnecks is abysmal. Like, we'll keep on going. You guys are going to see what I'm talking about. The Renegades are obviously a great squad. I remember watching this game, actually. And if I remember right, they missed the last-second field goal here to then go forth and win by 2. This is less of what I mean. That right there is more of what I mean with the DC Defenders offense getting it going. Now, Arlington's defense obviously wasn't great, but Renegades putting up 28. Barely taking down that game, right? Taking a look. This was probably maybe one of the best offensive and defensive performances that the Defenders put up so far. 2 points shy of the back-to-back at this point champions, the Birmingham Stallions, on 420. Good stuff there. Let's keep on moving on along here. There we go. This is what I was talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about right now. Obviously, this is an AJ McCarron-led St. Louis Battlehawk squad. 45. I think that's the most coming. Yeah, that's the most in the first half. No other team scores 45. I'm not going to spend too much on this. 32 is kind of up there. 31 is kind of up there. 34 is kind of up there. 33. Nerp. Yeah, I know there's not 45 points scored up there. Yeah, so it is by like it's by like maybe 10 points or 5 points at least, the highest that anybody has put on a squad here. This was probably the best one right here. DC Defenders shutting down the Brahmas offense right here. Now, if I remember right, this may have John Chuck Kirkland was not playing in this one, or is this where the quarterback shakeup happened for the Brahmas? That's week 6. That might have happened. I'm not 100% sure. Don't exactly remember it. Actually, I guess we can figure this out, right? We can get at life stats. Nerp. Okay, it's not going to have the... Okay, that kind of sucks. I thought the flip card was... Okay, never mind. Is it going to have... All right, it's not going to show me stats. That's okay. I'm not going to waste you guys' time and go back through it. We're already 10 minutes into this one, and I need to talk about Ken Whisenhunt and the Memphis Showboats. This is just what I'll talk about a little bit more. Yeah, dude, our offense is great. Giving up 22 while only scoring up 9. That may have been a late touchdown and three-point conversion as well. Taking a look, second time they play is much better than the first, and especially given that this was away, right? This is in the Battle Dome. Excuse me. Losing by 5 right there, handed. Obviously touchdown would have been difference. Who knows? Given the Showboats 21 points. Now that's pretty darn crazy. Excuse me. And then here towards the end, yeah, that's right. The Renegades get their revenge, a 1-point differential right there, 32-31. That might have been the highest scoring and closest scoring game of the entire season. Actually, the very, very end right there. So. Yeah, so basically my entire take on the DC situation is that's just really kind of crappy timing, I gotta say. Now let's talk a little bit about Memphis. Obviously, this happened today. We have much less information. Also, I am not Ken Whisenhunt's best friend. I'm not his trusted confidant, so I don't know for sure, but when Reggie Barlow's news came out, there was a clear, like, oh, welcome, coach to Tennessee State, right? Like welcome on in. This is where he's gonna be working now. Ken Whisenhunt is a little bit older. Ken Whisenhunt has not announced anything else like that. And the phrasing here, folks, kind of seems like there might be something that is outside of Ken Whisenhunt's control. Something with his own health, maybe something with his family. I don't want to speculate too much. All I'm gonna say is until we find out that he's taking on a job setting children's hospitals on fire or something like that, let's hold off on any kind of like, whoa, you're not going to start with the team or anything else like that, because I really, really, really don't think this is something that Ken Whisenhunt it deserves any kind of ire for, right? A lot of people were really, really excited for this. And on the opposite side here, Jim Turner, the offensive line coach, I got nothing bad to say about old Ken Whisenhunt. There might have been other players who could have come in here, maybe done a little bit better, picking head coaches.
Where it's so easy.
It is what it is. I'm not against Jim Turner coming in as the offensive lines coach to try and fix an error that the Memphis Showboats had last year. So something else. I mean, you can basically do like the reverse logic here. Okay, let's look at the Showboats defense. Right? They had the most sacks, 60 sacks, averaging 6 sacks a game. Obviously, the Renegades are. Allowed the most sacks with 60 sacks. Sorry, there you go. So that's just, and actually now that I look at this, these numbers are really not that far out. Most is 60, least is 50. Yeah, all right there. And then I mean, it's only a difference of like 1 or 2 in there. So actually, that may be a little bit less of a point that I really, really meant. But this is your yards per game. DC right there towards the bottom. Memphis far down towards the bottom. Let's take a look at the points allowed. Brahmas being the best, Stallions being the second right here. Memphis all the way down towards the bottom. Renegades and DC, 22.2, 22.5. That is the season difference of a single field goal right there. And those results go forth and turn in why we saw their kind of records there, right? So I feel a little bit bad for Memphis, right? They lose their head coach. I feel bad for Ken Whisenhunt if there's any kind of like, any kind of health issue or anything else like that with him, with his family. Wish him the best, right? There is no information as of right now that says that, he just decided that he's better than the UFL or anything else like that. So, folks, again, I would really, really, be pensive about drawing any ire towards Ken Whisenhunt. I'm going to wish Jim Turner the best. I am going to be kind of a POS a little bit about this and say that I am glad that we're playing them week 1 before they figure out whatever else they need to figure out when they get a new head coach 5 days before the first game. I think Memphis, before this, and I talked about this in futures a little bit, right? Circa had like plus or like 25 to 1 or something like that, and I was ready to pull the trigger on like a small bet for that. Now I really have to see how they look after week 1, maybe even week 2, before I'm considering even a higher paying out futures total for Memphis, because again, it's all got to go through Birmingham on our side of the division. That's going to be about it. Again, a shorter episode here, folks. Appreciate you watching. Ba-bang! Let's take a look at it. We got the new updated UFM graphic. We got Tell Me About It. Tell Me About It here. That is Ark. That is Tay. That is True. Obviously, Arik and Tay are doing the DC Defenders show as well. This is telling me about more of like a more a little bit of talk show. Speaking of the DC Defenders show or defending football over there, a little bit more short form content. So we kind of got all for you. The Brahmas bullpen also little Caballeros action. Josh out there getting done multiple ways with alternative football leagues. The Huddle with Webb, as well as the Huddle. Webb will be on over towards the captain's log. Yes, Brandon continuing to be captain. Oh, captain, my captain. Webb is going to be joining. Has been joining and will continue to join Brandon on there. Of course, you got Ace, Roughnecks Rundown, and the DC Defender Show and the Defending Football Show. Yes. So, sorry, the Defending Football Show is the shorter form. The DC Defender Show is Arik and Tay, longer form right there. Obviously, you got the Panthers podcast down there. I'm FBI Tugboat. If you liked what you heard, FBI_Tugboat literally everywhere. There's right along with this episode. I'm literally gonna stop recording, start the making this one pretty, and then we're gonna go over and start the gambling episode now that we have lines up. MGM Caesars, William Hill, DraftKings, all this other stuff. If you liked what you heard, FBI_Tugboat. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the flip side.